Hi everybody, this is Julie, Kansas City girl in a Colorado world, and this is Flosstube number 61. Today is Sunday, May 17th, and I thought that I would like to check in at this stage halfway through May. So this is my Mid-Maynia update. It's only been about 2 weeks since I last filmed, but I have an insane amount of stuff to show you, like so much stuff to show you. So I am not going to do book talk today, although I have read quite a few books and I would love to do book talk. This video is going to be plenty long enough. Lincoln, come here, baby. Someone was asking to see Lincoln in my last comments, and they said he hadn't made an appearance in a while. So he just came in. So here's Lincoln. This is about the typical view you get of him. He doesn't like to show his face. There he is. Oh, dear baby. Okay. Mwah. Good boy. All right, that was Lincoln. So anyway, I have so much to show you guys, so I'm not going to do book talk because I think this is going to be long already. And if I talk about books, that's going to be another 20, 30 minutes on top of that. So I will try to hit book talk next time. I'm so sorry. I know some of you actually really do look forward to that, and some of you could care less, but there won't be book talk at the end. So this is just cross stitch today, but hold on tight because there is a lot of cross stitch going on today. I have a ton of finishes, believe it or not, and some old things that I finally got around to finishing, and then some brand new finishes. I've had 3 starts and finishes since May 1st. Who am I? Who am I right now? So if you don't remember, I am doing mostly a version of Stitch Mania that I am calling Sal Mania, S-A-L. So S-A-L, Sal, stands for Stitch Along. So that is any kind of cross stitch pattern that is released in parts and pieces. Sometimes, most frequently released as kind of a mystery, a blind stitch along. Like you maybe get part 1, or you get a little teaser, you get like the frame or the border, something like that, to kind of entice you, like, yeah, that looks like something I would want to stitch, and then you sign up, and then the rest of the pattern is released in installments. It could be monthly, it could be weekly, whatever. So I personally can't resist a good stitch along. It's a weakness. It's a weakness of mine. I actually told my friend Amy recently, do not let me sign up for any Sals next year. Like, don't let me do it. I can't. So it's a problem. So the problem I have is I start the stitch alongs, but then I don't keep up with them, and I fall behind, and then they get tucked away, and I do eventually revisit them. I have completed some stitch alongs, but yeah, I like to start them. I get very excited and very into it. And so anyway, I've fallen behind on some 2020 stitch alongs. And I have some from 2019, 2018 that I more than fell behind on. And I thought, you know, I'm going to focus on stitch alongs for May. And try to get, you know, not that I think I'm going to get them all caught up, but just like to get some good progress on them. And it was actually a viewer had left a comment a couple videos ago with the suggestion that I should, you know, consider it. And I was like, it's an amazing suggestion. Yes, I'm going to do that. So that's how we got to Sal Mania. But I didn't want to lose some of that fun, like, new start mania. So I decided that on the weekdays I would work on my Sals, and then on Saturday I could have a new start. And there are 5 Saturdays in May, so that's 5 new starts for the month. And then I'm not entirely sure where or how I got here, but I think I was just really obsessed with this book, Blackbird Designs Sewing Club book, and it's full of small projects. I want to stitch literally every single thing in here. There are 16 projects in total. And I was just really itching to start something in here, so I decided my 5 starts would come from this book. So that's my mania. Stitch alongs during the weekdays, new start from Blackbird Sewing Club on the weekends. I have a lot. I've worked on a lot. There's a lot going on. Let me show you some finishes. So I have finished a few of things from this book, and I will show you those with after I show my whips. But let me show you some things I have fully finished in the last few days that aren't related to any of that mania stuff. Just things I've been needing to get to. So I took a class in February with the designer Nikki's Creations. She comes to Colorado every year. I think like 2 weeks before Nashville Needlework Market, and which is always in March. She lives in Italy, so she comes in for Nashville, and she has some really good friends here in Colorado. So I don't know how many years she's been doing it now, but it's been several years where she comes to visit her friends in Colorado prior to market, and she does a little class. It's just like a half-day class. So I went last year for the first time and met Nikki, and just, it was awesome, fabulous project. And of course I was gonna go this year, so I did, and I showed you guys this project. I just hadn't like fully finished it. So the project this year was a French pouch, and it's this cute little pouch, and I had the girls sewn and I had the pouch made, but what I hadn't done was sewn this little scissor pillow and attached it. It would literally, I knew it would take me like 15 minutes. I just haven't done it. You know, it's like been sitting over here for 2 months, just like taunting me, like, do this thing. So I finally was like, okay, I'm going to sew this stupid little scissor pillow. So I did it and I attached it. And now this is really truly done. So here's the pouch. This is just so cute. So really pretty fabric. Antique buttons, and she provided all of this. Like, this was all part of our class. And then it actually like pulls shut into a pouch, but so you can like grab and go and use it. But it's actually pretty cute, opened up like partially, so I leave it kind of open like this and just sitting, and you can still see the beautiful stitching. But I'm not gonna store it, like, you know, I want to see it, like I want to see it. So here's the stitching I already had done, and like I said, I finally made this pillow. She also gave us these beautiful handmade pens as part of the kit, so I put those in the pouch. So this is Nikki's own linen that she dyes herself. And like I said, it actually looks really good, kind of like partially open, partially closed, just sitting out where you can see it. So I finished that. It also came with this little thread keep as well that Nikki had made, and I did have to stitch these scissors on here as well. And I think the last thing I need to do, I think I'm going to take some pretty scrapbook paper and just glue it over the back so that, ooh, I feel like that really blew out, just to cover the stitches. It doesn't look terrible or anything, but just to make it look a little neater. So that was part of the kit. So that was something that was just kind of hanging over my head as it was basically done, but I just needed to do that one last little thing. So I did it, yay. And then I had this, so I had started Little House Needleworks ABCs quite some time ago. And this is the original one. So not like the summer or the winter or whatever, just the original ABC. So it's not seasonal. And I had started it and I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't loving my fabric. I just didn't want to stitch it anymore. And I was talking to Amy and I was like, you know, I think I'm going to UFO this, which basically just means I'm taking this out of my WIP list. I'm never going to finish this. I'm just going to trash it probably. And she was like, well, why don't you just like finish off like the little bit, you know, finish off like the section you're on and just make it into like a pin pillow. I was like, oh, yeah, that's nice. Then I don't have to just totally trash it. So that's what I did. So because I didn't have all of this stitched, but I had like A, B, you know, like I had like this part. And so I just finished this and then just backed it with some homespun, put some little trims on it. Oh, and now I can let go of that WIP, you know, guilt-free. And actually this, all along, like once I had decided that, it kind of just sat there forever and I wasn't getting around to doing it. And then I decided I needed to send someone a little stitchy gift. They don't know this is coming to them. They're probably watching right now, but they still might not know this is for them. So anyway, this is going off to a friend. So it was a motivation to finally get that done, get that finished. I just stuffed this with polyfill. And then my next fully finished object. So not last video, but video before, I showed you guys that I had finished a pattern from the Witchy Stitcher called Witchcrafts, but I hadn't fully finished it. It was just, I finished the stitching, but nothing else. And I told you guys, next video, I will show you an FFO on this, a fully finished object. And then I didn't. And none of you called me out on it last video. Just thank you very much. I didn't, but I did for this video. So I did a flat fold finish for this one, and I really love how it came out. So this is Witchy Stitcher Witchcrafts. I stitched this on 28 count. Picture this plus crystal. So it's got some shine and some shimmer. And this is in the color Flapper. And then the rest is just all the called for DMCs. I really love the pattern itself. I think she has it on like I think it's like a tea dyed linen kind of look. But I felt inspired to do it on the purple, and I really love it. I really love it on the purple. So this is a mounted flat fold. I did some gold cording trim around it, and it's a flat fold, so it just stands up on your table or your counter. And here's the back, which I think is really cool too. So I really am really, can I say really anymore? I'm very happy with how this one came out. I'm very happy with this. And it looks great, and it's going to be displayed in my room. And it feels so good to get those FFOs done, like just to get these things done. And oh, sorry, I got some weird window lights coming in. It just feels good to finish these things. Okay, so those are not all of my finishes, but the rest were new starts and finishes since my last video. So I'm going to show you like kind of more like a chronological order. So before I jump into my WIPs, I have to show you guys This is, I'm speechless once again. I was speechless when I received this. So, my friend Victor, he is not a Flosstuber, but he is on Instagram. I will link him down below. I'm making notes of people I need to link. On Instagram, he is Flawed Sir. And I had contacted him and sent him a kindness. We don't need to go into it, but I had sent him something. And then he recently contacted me and was like, hey, what's your 1, 2, 3 wish list? I want to send you a pattern as a thank you. Which of course, you know, I'm like, no, you don't have to, you know, and he's like, no, I want to send you a pattern. So I'm like, okay, you know, here it is. And I sent him my address. And then I got a pattern, or I got a package from 123 Stitch. And I'm like, this feels heavy. Like, this feels thick. Like, he was just gonna send me a pattern. And so I open it up, and he sent me far more than a pattern. He sent me 3 patterns and some fabric and a boatload of floss. So he went far, far, far beyond the kindness I had sent to him. But, I mean, so it's just crazy. It's crazy. So he sent me, he decided he would like to do like a Christmas in July kind of stitching with me. So he sent me some Christmas patterns. So he sent me the Scarlet House, My Gift to Thee. And this should be a really quick stitch. It's not too big. And he sent me the Classic Color Works for that. And he sent me a little piece of fabric for that too. So this is, I actually have never used this brand. This is an Access Commodities fabric. It's just a nice, like, raw, natural linen. I've never tried them before, so I'm actually kind of excited to give that a try. So that's not all, folks. He wasn't done. He sent me this pattern. This is an Italian designer. It's Sarah Guermani. This is Wicked Christmas. And it's huge. It's 278 by 263. But it's amazing. It's a Christmas scene. It's like Halloween at the top and then flows into Christmas. So like Santa's down here in the town and it's all Christmassy, but then up here there's all these witches flying around. It's large, however, this top part should go pretty quick. These buildings I got the pattern out and look, they're pretty solid. But still, it's so good. It's so good. It's big. It's very big, but it's amazing. And so Victor and I decided this is what we're going to stitch in July for our Christmas in July. And so if anybody has this pattern or wants to join in, you are welcome. Welcome to join in. This one is just DMC, so I have all that. So he didn't send that. And I've got fabric for that I'll show you in a minute. And then he sent me, this is not Christmassy, he sent me a drawn thread, little bits of Halloween, and I am obsessed with this. I want to stitch every single one. And these aren't huge, believe it or not. Like, they look like they're a good size, but I was looking at the stitch counts. The smallest one, this little cat, is 38 by 38 stitches, so that's tiny. This square one, which looks like a really good size, it's only 82 by 82 stitches. And then the vertical ones the vertical and horizontal are not that wide, although they are rather long. So yeah, so I want to stitch all 4 of them. And I can't even decide like which one first, you know, like I really, anyway, and then he sent me the floss for these, which is silks, mostly dinky dyes and some NPIs. Yeah, dinky dyes and NPIs. And a little packet of beads. So yeah, I was absolutely speechless, completely blown away. I literally sat there like a fish, like like I didn't know what to say. It was crazy. So of course Victor and I have talked. I've thanked him and all that, but it was such an amazing gift. I never expect anything like that, and it just shows you like the extremely special people that we have in this community that just do amazing things like behind the scenes, and not doing it for any recognition or anything like that. But Victor, I need to check with him, but he has an extra of Wicked Christmas because 123 like messed up an order at some point. Anyway, he's got one so he can stitch it with me, but then I think he has an extra. So I think we're going to do a giveaway next month for anyone who wants to do Christmas in July stitching with us, and anyone who might want to do this pattern with us. So stay tuned. When I know more, we will do a giveaway, which will be amazing. So, okay, so now let's get to whips, okay? So my, on the 29th and the 30th of every month, I do a stitch along with my friend Amy. I will link her below. I'm writing a note to myself right now. Amy is Gables Stitcher on Instagram and on Flosstube. And we are doing this friendship stitch along. So sorry, my throat got really dry. So my birthday is on January 29th and her birthday is on July 30th. So that's why we decided to do this stitch along every month on the 29th and the 30th. And we are doing this pattern by R&R Reproductions, and it's called Designer's Motif Sampler, and you probably cannot find this if you try. I'm not saying you can't find it, but I'm just saying you're not going to be able to easily find this. It was charted in 1997. And I'm stitching mine on 36 count vintage maritime white, I think, from Lakeside. So my last Flosstube was like April 28th or something. So that's why this isn't part of my mania. It's just, it snuck in as a whip before May 1st. So I actually feel like I made really good progress this last round on this one. These are specialty stitches all through here. I think they're, I don't even remember what they're called, right? Are they rice stitches? I think they're rice stitches. And then eyelets in the middle of all those rice stitches. So, but the rest is cross stitch. I'm just using the called for DMC so far. At some point in this chart, it starts to call for like some silks, and I'm definitely going to have to sub at those at that point because I don't know that they're silks you can easily get anymore. Amy is way behind on our stitch along, but I believe she's fine. She had to restart it. She didn't like her fabric. So she's finally like happy with her fabric and able to get going with this. I will be working on this on the 29th of this month, even though it's a little outside of my mania plans. But I'm determined. I have no like delusions that I'm going to finish this anytime soon, but I am determined to work on it once a month as planned so that I'm at least pushing forward with progress with it no matter what. Okay. So then it was May 1st. So May 1st was on a Friday, and so I had told you guys how I picked 5 stitch-alongs to focus on the weekdays, and I decided I would do one every day, Monday through Friday, so that I would just kind of rotate through them. May 1st being a Friday, I got to pick one of my stitch-alongs to get like an extra day, to get that new, you know, that last weekday. And then Saturday, May 2nd was a new start. And then Monday, May 4th was my like official first week of Mania. So the pattern I picked for my one extra day was Cunning Cross Stitch Letters from Hogwarts Stitch Along. And here is what the overview of this stitch along is. So first was this whole border was released, and then every 2 months a new section is released. So this was released January, this was released March, and this one was just released on May 1st. Here's a close-up of what the border looks like. It's really, really great, and it's completely free, which is like insane. Well, I mean, I'm sure partly it's free because Harry Potter is, you know, you can't make money off of something that's copyrighted like that. But anyway, if you just look up Cunning, C-U-N-N-I-N-G, Cunning Cross Stitch Hogwarts, you will find it. It's you just have to go to his blog, and all the links are right there, and it's totally free. So I am going to be doing some modifications to mine. There's a Facebook group for this stitch along, and people have posted just some amazing, amazing changes that they've made, and I was really inspired, and I'm going to be making some changes too. But some of it I'm keeping exactly as is because I love it. Actually, I love all of it. I have no complaints. I could stitch it exactly as is, but some of the modifications I'm like, oh, I have to copy that. That's just amazing. So the fun thing about this stitch along is with each chapter that's released, you get to kind of do a choose your own adventure. So like chapter 1 was pick your house through, you know, like the sorting hat. Like, are you Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Slytherin, or Ravenclaw? I'm a Gryffindor. So like there were 4 different options of what yours could look like just right off the bat. So just lots of elements where you get to pick, like, you know, there might be a couple of choices, or there might be like 10 choices, but just things that you can like make it your own. On top of people who are doing even more modification. I'm doing this on 28 count Monaco, and I dyed this myself. And I love how it came out, this Monaco. So I was going for like kind of a parchmenty look. It's probably not quite the right color, but I love it. And here is where I'm at on my cell. These are needle minders right here. These are not stitched. These are my needle minders. So, starting up at the top here, this is all as charted. The Hogwarts is exactly as charted. When it came to the wand, there were several different options. You were supposed to roll a dice to like get your wand, or you could just pick the one you like the look of. And then you could pick the color for the wood, all of that. So my wand is charted, but not everybody's wand is going to look the same. Hogwarts is exactly as charted. It took forever. One change I did make is I put DMC Etoile on the house colors here, so mine sparkle a little bit, but they're the colors they're supposed to be. I just made them sparkly. So, up next on this is the Hogwarts Express right here next to Hogwarts, and I was going to start on that next. I was going to kind of get this top banner done before I moved on, but I finally decided I was going to redesign chapter 1 on this, and let me see if I can show you what it looks like. I just wasn't happy with it. It's fine, but I I couldn't get past, like, I don't know. I just thought it could look different. I don't think I have a pic of it handy. I've got a lot of papers printed out here. Like, oh, here it is. Okay. So chapter 1 is this banner, and whether yours, this is the Gryffindor one, but you know, they had all the houses. They were all full coverage. This is 60 by 100, this block. It's 60 by 110. Full coverage. And I was like, I cannot do that. I can't. And I wasn't like totally in love with the look of it either. So I was like, okay, I can't do that. I got to do something different. So I'd been kind of thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it. And I finally decided on like a new layout that's not full coverage. And kind of like where I was gonna put what. And once I finally like got all the pieces together and like settled on it, then I was really excited to start stitching it because I didn't want to forget like what I was trying to do with it. So instead of doing the Hogwarts Express right here next to Hogwarts as I had planned, I jumped down and started doing chapter 1. Which is just right here in the middle. So I had to do some of this border to get down here. I had a little bit done, but I had to do more. And this is part of my modification. This is the sorting hat. This is a 1/1 on 28 count Monaco, which was a pain, but it looks really good. Doing it over 2, like full size, was gonna be too big. It was gonna be, you know, this big, and it would have fit, but it wouldn't have allowed me to put my other elements in. So I had to stitch this little 1/1 sorting hat. So that's mostly what I did. So I've worked on this for 3 days, and that was 2. 2 of the days was the sorting hat. It looks really good though. I'm really excited to get back to this week and start to put those other elements in. I'm really excited to stitch the Hogwarts Express up at the top, but I think I'm going to do chapter 1 first and then hop back up there and finish that. Chapter 2, I am going to mostly do as charted. And chapter 3, I'm going to totally do as charted. So I won't be doing any modifications on those. Wow, I feel like I talked about that for a really long time. Okay, so my next SAL. So I have 5 of them. So my next one is the Witchy Stitcher Chopping Mall SAL. And here is the border for that one. And this was not a monthly stitch along. This was like an every 2 weeks kind of thing. And it's finally done. She just released the last part. But she was doing like releasing stores every couple of weeks. So I also dyed a 28 count Monaco for this one. I love the way the Monaco turned out on this. It's like a gray blue. It's perfect. And so I've only done 2 more days on this one. And I feel like I'm finally like getting there. This border is intense. So starting the month, I already had store 1 done, and I had about half of store 2 done. And I had a lot of this banner done, or this border done, but I went back up. I did basically like all of this in the last 2 days that I worked. Well, I finished store 2 and then came up and did all of this. So I feel like I got quite a bit done. For 2 days of stitching, I'm happy. I'm happy with that. This calls for a lot of étoile. I don't know if it's showing up, but there is some subtle sparkle in that étoile. But the border is no joke. I mean, this goes, see this V above the sign? It's a lot of stitching. So what I'm doing to kind of keep myself engaged is I'm doing a big chunk of the border and then I'll jump down and do a store. So prior to May, I had, you know, I had stitched most of this and then I jumped down and did store 1. And then I came back up and did more border and then I jumped down and did store 2. So just like, you know, there's no like exact rule. I'm just kind of making myself do quite a bit on the border before I can go do a store. Now the stores actually are quick. They're not as dense and full coverage as the border. So the stores stitch up in like 2 days. It's just that border is pretty insane. So the third stitch along I chose to work on for Mania was Ingleside Imaginarium Kaluna Brightburn's Catalog for Witches Familiars. I'm going to zoom in so you can see that. You can get that on her Etsy. And this was up to May. That's May. The serpent is May. So this will be one a month through the year. So there's still time. And I've only worked on this for 2 days. So I had January and February done. I needed to do March, April, and May. Which of course May just came out, but I needed to do March and April for sure. So I am not done with March, but I am on it. So this is a linen from Victorian Motto. It's a 40 count and it's a mystery linen, and Amy gifted this to me. So yeah, one more day and I can finish the crow for sure. I just need one more day on that. And then I can move on to April. I do feel like April will go faster. I feel like March with that crow was one of the more dense blocks. So I think April will be fast, and I think May will be pretty fast too. So I feel good about that, like, okay, we'll get there. And then my fourth stitch along that I chose was the 2020 Linen and Threads Mystery Sampler, the Friends and Family Quaker Sampler. And this is a not great picture, but it's a Quaker, which just lends itself so beautifully to picking any fabric and floss you want, because it can really look good in anything. I chose just one variegated floss for mine, but some people are doing, you know, 5 different colors of floss. Like, you can do whatever you want. I'm doing mine on 40 count mallow linen, and the floss I'm using is a DMC Variations, and 4240 is the color. It's a blurple. Ooh, that's probably not accurate at all. It goes blue, royal blue to purple to like navy. So I had January and February done. I'm on March. April is a beast. I am not looking forward to that. So April is this whole motif right here. Look how big that is. And then like this is May, just these little ones. But like that's April, like that whole thing. Intense. So anyway, I am on March, so you know, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I really love how it's looking though. So here is about how big it's gonna be in the end. And here, so what I did this go round was all of this. So 2 days worth of work there. One of the days I didn't get very much stitching, but then on the second day I felt like I got good progress. Okay, and then my last sal for Mania, for my weekday stitching, because I unfortunately have more sals after this. The last one I've been focusing on is okay, so someone corrected me in my last video. The designer, I said I think it's I wasn't sure how to pronounce it. I said, I think it's Inui. E-N-N-U-I. Inui. It's one of those words that I've read a lot but never heard anyone use. And so I said, I think that's how you say it. And somebody like nicely was like, no, not quite. So I believe they said, I didn't look this up before the video. I believe they said it's pronounced ennui. So I wasn't close at all. I wasn't even a little bit close. So by Suburban Ennui, Works of Jane Austen. You can get this on Etsy. And it's all of Jane Austen's books in each little block. I am stitching this on a 36 count XG design linen. It was one of her fabric of the months. It's called Dark Mountain, so I don't think you can get it anymore. And let me move my needle minders so they're not covering up my stitching. I think I did really good on this one. Even though I only worked on it for 2 days, I feel like I made really, really good progress in my 2 days. So I finished my Sense and Sensibility block. I had half of it done, so I finished it. And then I even got to start down on the Pride and Prejudice block, which is, Pemberley is a beast. So I started on right here. Oh, it's huge. Like, look it. It's big. Look how big that is. So yeah, that's going to take a minute. It's going to take a minute, but that's okay. It's going to look great. I'm very happy with how this is looking. And I'm really excited because I'm going to watch all the movies and miniseries as I stitch on this. So I watched Sense and Sensibility as I finished up this block. The Emma Thompson version. Fun fact. Let's talk about this for just like a second, okay? Fun fact. I love Emma Thompson. I love that movie. I think it's fabulous. It was nominated for many Oscars. I believe Emma Thompson won for Best Adapted Screenplay. It was great. But as I'm watching it, I'm like, because I've read the book, I'm like, yeah, I don't think Eleanor was that old in the book. Like, not that Emma Thompson was like old, but like, I was like, she doesn't, and I'm thinking in the book, she's like an unmarried, like almost spinster. Like she's not there yet, but there's like, you know, they're kind of like, girl, you better get yourself a man soon or you're going to be too old. And so in the book, I'm thinking like, oh, she's like 26 or something. And come to find out when I look this up, like in the book, it's not stated, but it's assumed that she's like 19. So I was like, Emma Thompson does not look like she's in her 20s in this movie. She just doesn't. So I looked it up and she was 30. I think now I can't remember if it was 36 or 39. It was one of those. And I was like, okay, I feel validated now because I'm like, she is not, she's beautiful. She's a beautiful woman. She looks great. But she doesn't really pass as like a 20-year-old. Okay. Just wanted to, fun fact. I had to look it up. I was like, literally, how old was Emma Thompson when she filmed Sense and Sensibility? Okay, so yeah. One last look. I'm very happy. I'm very, very happy because now that I am moving on to the Pride and Prejudice block, and it's going to take me a while, I get to watch both versions of Pride and Prejudice that are near and dear to my heart. So I get to watch the original. It's not the original because it's been adapted like 900 times. But when I say original, I mean the one we all think of, the Colin Firth miniseries. So I get to watch that one, which is really long. It's 4 parts, I think. And then I still won't be done with that block. So then I get to watch the Joe Wright, Keira Knightley movie version, which is like, I love it so much. Okay, so those are my 5 sals that I was focused on, right? So you would think that's enough, right? But no. I had some other sals I had to be doing too. Because I committed to do the Fat Quarter Shop, It's So Emma Prim Village stitch along. And we're stitching one of these houses a week. And we started this, I don't remember, end of March? I think it was end of March. So in between this, like, this stitching I'm doing, I have to keep up with this one. So this is with all the called for Aurifloss colors. And this is the called for 25 count oatmeal Lugana, which is just so gorgeous. I love the way this fabric looks. But I did not want to do over 2 the way you're supposed to on 25 count, because that is some big X's, and I can't do it. It's a preference. I'm not judging anyone who likes to stitch on those kind of counts. I don't know. I can't make my stitches look very neat when I'm stitching them that big. That's the truth. So I'm doing this 1/1 on 25 count. So mine is itty bitty bitty. Someone did point out to me very nicely, not like in a rude way. I kept saying mine was half the size because I'm doing it over 1 instead of over 2. So I kept saying mine's going to be half the size. And she nicely pointed out, she's like, it's actually going to be 1/4 of the size. I was like, what? And then when I really like thought about it in my head, I'm like, yeah, that's actually totally right. This is 1/4 of the size. So anyway, there we go. So by Tuesday, I need to do this house right here. But it's so cute. This is, oh, this is the last row. I'm on the home stretch. 4 more weeks and we're done. It's really turning out great. But I'm ready. I'm ready to put this one to bed. I really am. But why, I don't know, but I committed to doing another stitch along with the Fat Quarter Shop. So I am doing the Feels Like Home stitch along. And I think part of why I committed to this is because it's small. It's very small. It's only 5 parts, or maybe 6 parts, 5 or 6 parts. It's 120 by 120. And it's cute, and I said I would do it, so I am behind. I have some catching up to do. So this was part 1, which I did do on time and catch up. Part 2 is this, I don't have the picture, but it's a big house. And then part 3 just came out on Friday, 2 days ago, and part 3 is small and manageable, so that's good. I just have to get that stupid huge house done. And then I think I can get back on track. So this called for a bunch of classic color works, which I'm using. And it called for 25 count Lugana in the color Cloud, which to my eyes is just white. I don't see anything else going on there. I think it's just white. But again, I couldn't do over 2. So I'm doing mine 1/1 on 25 count. So it's going to be itty bitty again. So part 1 is done, and I've started on that house, which is huge. It looks great, but it's really big. So I have to finish that house, and then part 3 is just some words. It says Feels Like Home. I really need to get all that done by next Friday. I don't know if I will, but I'm gonna try. Okay, there's one more whip, because I just wasn't done punishing myself. So on the 13th of every month this year, Amy Gable Stitcher and I committed to doing a Halloween new start on the 13th of every month. So 12 new Halloween starts this year. I've talked about it before. Something we committed to. So despite that not fitting in with my Mid-Maynia plans, I was like, I gotta start something this month. And then I realized I had signed up, I had pre-ordered the Barbara Anna Spellville Sal, which came out on May 1st. And this is part 1. And I realized it can be my 13th, my Stitch Halloween 13, which is our hashtag we're using. It can be my Stitch Halloween 13 new start, and it still fits in with Salmania. It's a Sal. It's only a 3-part Sal. It's really small too, so I was like, come on, that won't take any time at all. So I posted this on the 13th that I was doing this, and I was actually really surprised. Like, people on Instagram like went nuts. Like, they were like, oh my God, I love that. I gotta go get it. Ah. Like, it was cool. People just like went nuts. I got like way more likes than usual. So you guys like it as much as I do. It only calls for 3 colors of DMC. I am stitching this on 36 count R&R Winter Brew. So this is something, I am not getting into linen count discussion. We're not doing it. But something I have learned about myself is I don't like 36 count unless a few brands I can do. But R&R 36 count, I don't like it because it's a little looser and more generous. I like a tight 36 count, like a picture this plus 36 count, I'm fine. My problem with 36 count in some types of fabric is that one strand does not cut it. It doesn't look right, but 2 strands is crowded. I tried 1 strand, a couple stitches, and I was like, nope. And I ripped it out and I switched to 2 strands. I do like the way it looks. It is crowded, but I'll live. That's all I got to do because I only got to work on this for 30 minutes at lunch. It's really not going to take long at all. I only worked on it for 30 minutes. All right. So that's Salmania. It's a lot, right? It's a lot. Well, we're not done. Because if you remember, every weekend on Saturday, I'm allowing myself a new start from Sewing Club. Now, these are primarily pretty small projects, but there's a couple good sized ones in here too. Look at that, like, look how pretty this is. Everything in this book is glorious. So anyway, okay, first Saturday of the month, I picked as my new start. I wanted something small. So I think I picked like almost the smallest thing in here. It's called Summer Phlox. I knew that would be a quick, fast stitch. I knew I could finish this one. And I wanted to get a finish because I was going to have at least 5 new starts from this book. And I thought it would be nice if I could finish a couple of them so I'm not like increasing my whip count too much. I started it and finished it in 1 day. It stitched up. I thought it would take 2. It was 1 day. It stitched up faster than I thought. And I've even FFO'd it. Whoa. I feel like that's blowing out big time. There we go. This is on a 30 count Old England linen from Nikki's Creations. Maybe that'll be my screen grab. Isn't it cute? It's so cute. I just backed it with some brown fabric. I put this cute little trim. I love it. It's adorable. And it's done. Start and a finish 1 day. I didn't FFO that day, but start and finish 1 day. So then the next weekend, the next weekend of May, I started In My Garden, which is supposed to be a drum. But it's a weird drum though, because it's like a really tall, skinny drum. I'm not like huge on drums anyway, and I was like, there's no way. They did include this picture of what it looked like before they made it into a drum. I was like, yeah, that's better. That's better. This is one of my favorite pieces in this book. So I started that and I finished it in the weekend. I finished it Sunday. And then I FFO'd it because I am giving this to my mother for Mother's Day. It's just a couple days late. Okay, it's a week late. Today's Sunday after Mother's Day. But this is going out in the mail this week. So I FFO'd. So I stitched this on 36 count, picture this plus ale. And like I said, I didn't mind doing one strand over two on 36 count from picture this plus because it's a tighter fabric and it looks better. So there it is. So good. So I want to tell you guys a little secret about backing with homespun or gingham. I learned this secret. Oh, I got this paddleboard from Target Dollar Days spot for $3 a while ago. I've been kind of holding on to it. It was $3. It said something like eat, sleep, market or something on there. Okay, secret I learned from Priscilla from the Real Housewives of Cross Stitch. Because I like to back with homespun. And so does she. She backs with homespun a lot. It just looks good. If you try to back it like lining up with the lines like that, you are gonna be in for a world of pain. It's not, those little rows are not gonna line up. It's gonna look wonky. It's gonna drive you nuts. So what Priscilla said was turn the fabric on point and do it that way. And then it just doesn't show up if your lines aren't perfect. So if anybody's trying to back with a plaid or a homespun or a check, anything like that, do not try to line it up with the lines. Turn them. And it's much more forgiving. So again, I'll zoom in so you can see what I'm saying here. See that? You turn it. And then it doesn't show that your lines aren't perfectly matched up. There's a nice close-up of my stitching. So that's going off to my mama. So this is called In My Garden. And I wanted to stitch this for her because that's her favorite thing to do. Her garden is gorgeous. It's like insane. Like just flowers everywhere. It's so pretty. Way too much work for me. I would never. Okay, and then what I started yesterday, the third Saturday of the month, and finished today was my actual favorite piece in this book. This is Garden Friends Sewing Bag. I just finished this, so I have not fully finished this. But the stitching is done. Look how little it is, because I did mine on 40 count, because it calls for like a 30 count. So mine's on 40 count. This is Witchy Design in the color Grandma's Slip, which is really like a funky, like you see how it's all aged. And look how little mine is. It's so tiny, but I love it. I love it. So can you believe that? I have 3 finishes in May from this book. Now, the next 2 projects I have slated for the month, I don't think I'm going to be able to finish in 2 days. So whatever. But then my whip count's only going up by 2 instead of by 5. So that is a great thing. That's a good thing. Okay, so that's all of that. So the last thing I have to show you guys is some haul and some fun. I dyed some fabric. Let's do that first. Let's show the fabric first. I needed fabric for Wicked Christmas, but I didn't like anything I had in stash. So I decided to dye something, and then that sent me down a rabbit hole of like, I'm just gonna dye a bunch of things while I'm at it. So I dyed this 40 count for Wicked Christmas, and I love it. Not sure which side I'm gonna use yet, but I love it. In my head, I was thinking whiskey. Like as my color, I was thinking whiskey. And I think I got there. I think it's perfect. So I'm very excited. I think, yeah, that's right. Okay, and then in that same dye bath, I dropped in, because that was a 40 count. In the same dye bath, I dropped in a random 32 count white casual linen that I had. I don't have any plans for this. I just knew I didn't want to stitch something on white, so I just dunked that in. Although it's the exact same dye bath, they soak the exact same amount of time. Base fabrics were a little different, so they did come out just a little different. Not much. I mean, they're definitely, you know. And I don't know how well it's even showing up on camera, but in real life, there's a little difference. Nothing crazy. While I was, another thing I like to do when I'm dyeing fabric is I always drop a little bit of like floss in there to see what happens. So while I was dyeing these two, I also just dropped this floss in, and I think it came out pretty close to those fabrics. But floss definitely takes the dye way different than the linen. I didn't need anything with the floss. Like I said, it was just random. I did have a point of something I wanted to do with this linen, and it came out just exactly right. I can't tell you what I want to do with it because it's going to be for a surprise for somebody. But I love how this came out. I actually dyed two pieces at the same time, and they do match. And they came out absolutely beautiful. I threw some floss in with these two. I haven't straightened it and made it pretty yet. Look how different the floss came out from the fabric. And then one of my main goals was I had this really, really ugly piece of fabric. It's Picture This Plus Swamp. I bought it online, sight unseen, so I didn't know. You know, what I thought it looked like online versus when it got here. It's just so ugly. It was like baby poop green. Just, you guys, it was the ugliest piece of fabric. So I was like, I have got to try to dye that. Well, you know, whatever Picture This Plus uses to like set their dyes, it did not want to give up the ghost. I had to dunk this in a dye bath twice. The second one, I basically almost just soaked it in black, and it still like didn't change a ton, but at least now it's usable. But you can still see some of that green and brown in it, but it did like, it toned it down. It's still not like what I would have wanted, but I can work with this. It's not hideous anymore. And then I dyed a piece of fabric very specifically for this pattern, Plum Street Sea Hag. And I dyed this piece of, actually, it was this. This is what it looked like to start with. It's a 32 count Witchel linen, or Zweigart. It's a 32 count Zweigart. I think it's called khaki. Maybe it's called khaki. It's just it's a khaki. It's a khaki color. But like no variegation, no modeling, just khaki. And I had this long, skinny piece of it, which will be absolutely perfect for Sea Hag. But I wanted some interest to it, some modeling. So I dyed it, and I love how it came out. I love it. It kind of reminds me of murky. It's not, but it's like in that, I feel like it's in that family. So super long piece, long skinny piece. I threw this floss in at the same time. Came out quite different. It did, of course, it was a white base color, whereas this was a khaki base color. Okay, so those were my adventures in dyeing. Now, you guys always ask me, like, can you do a tutorial? How did you do it? You know. Okay, no. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to link below. I'm writing a note. I will link a tutorial below. It's by Farm Girl, Michelle Rudy. And it is a RIT dye tutorial. That's what I use for these, RIT dye. Liquid, not powder. And I watched her tutorial some time ago and got all those tips and tricks from her. And that's exactly what I do when I dye my stuff. So I'm not going to make a video because she already made a really good one. But I will link it below so you don't have to go try to like hunt it down. Okay, so like go watch her video and just do what she does. I do the same thing. All right, I have some haul and then we can wrap this up because holy God, this is long. I told you I wouldn't have time for book talk. Okay, haul. So I'm gonna go through this quick. I blame two people for this haul. The first is Matt at MBC Stitcher. I will link him below, writing a note right now. He's new. He only has like 3 floss tubes. I blame Matt, and I also blame Helen, East Coast Crafter Helen D, who I will also link below. You should watch both of those people because they are both fabulous. They're both very good people. And they both enabled me. So in her last video, Helen showed this beautiful pattern from Satsuma Street. And it's pretty, right? But like seeing it in person, like with her like zooming in and talking about all the variegated floss that it calls for, I was like, ooh, I need that. Now, Matt is stitching the spring version. This is the autumn version. He's stitching the spring version, which is a different color palette. But he had showed that and I was like, oh, that's so pretty. Like, ooh, I kind of want that. But I like talked myself down. I was like, nope, you don't need it. You don't need it. You don't need it. And so like, I thought I was like past it. And then Helen showed this one and I was like, So I got it. While I was there at Satsuma, I also grabbed these ornaments. I've been meaning to get these, like they've been on my wish list. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna get those too. So I got these ornaments. She does them like Mill Hill style on perforated paper. And they're just so dang cute. There's 8 of them. I did not get 8. I got 5 of them. The rest I was like, I can, you know, they're cute, but I can live without them. They're so cute. This might be my favorite. Okay. And then Ardeth Designs. And she has a floss tube too. Oh my gosh, I'm going to link it down below. Ardeth Designs, so she released this Count the Cup saucer. And I was like, I think I need that. It's really little. It's this cute little bitty thing. And I was like, I think I need that. I think I do. And then she released the companion Count the Saucers. And I was like, yeah, I definitely need those. I think it's this moon that just kills me. So Amanda May at Ardeth Designs, she got me. I had to get them. I had to get them. And then the last thing, Primitive Hair, one of my favorite designers, like of all time, is having a sale. And actually, if you guys, she's having her sale until June 1st, so you still have time to go. On her Etsy, she's having a sale. You need to like go to her Facebook to get the code, but it is 15% off. So I've been meaning to order this pattern. I've almost bought this pattern 900 times. I kept holding off because I knew that Amy Gable Stitcher would let me borrow hers when she finished. And she did. She finished this, but then she's like, I gotta stitch it again for myself because she gave it to a friend. And now I was like, fine, I'm just gonna buy it so I don't have to wait for you. This is Rebecca Nurse. It's actually pretty small too. It didn't take Amy very long to stitch. It looks bigger than it is. It's 124 by 95. And it's not small, but it didn't take her that long to stitch it. And then I bought the Halloween cubes because they're just really cute and I love them. So I restrained myself. I only got 2 things. I already own like 1,000,000 patterns from the Primitive Hair, and I still want like 1,000,000 patterns from the Primitive Hair, but I kind of just reined it in and I just got 2 and they're not going anywhere. Like I'll be able to get the other ones later, but I could stitch every single thing in her Etsy shop. I love her. I love her. Okay, the last thing, and then we're done. Most of you are probably gone by now. But if you're still here with me, the last thing, Fat Quarter Shop sent me some stuff. I think it's maybe quarterly, they send out like a little, like what's new, kind of like, I think that I could be making assumptions, but just like a little sampler of like some new things. So they chose me and they sent me some stuff. So they sent me these 2 patterns. This first one was part of they do a club, where you get this pattern with like the fabric and all the floss, and I think it's called Stitch Quarterly, but don't quote me on that. But now it's available for anybody to just get the pattern. And I actually really like this pattern a lot because I am from Kansas, which is the sunflower state, and that is my home. And so this one's really speaking to me. And then the other pattern they sent me, which I had almost bought myself, was Starlit Snowflake. And it's really simple, but I don't know what it is. It's just so pretty. Like, something about it just calls to me because I want to do it in metallics. Wouldn't that be gorgeous? In metallics? And then I was really excited about this because I legit was going to buy these. Like, I had them in my shopping cart. These are library card label packs for your cross stitch to put on the back of your cross stitch. And it's literally a library card and an envelope. And you can put on there, you know, the year you stitched, name of the pattern, fabric you stitched it on, floss you used, who you stitched it for, or why you were, you know, whatever, if there's a story behind it. Just like information about what you stitched to put on the back of your finished project. And I just think that is incredible. So it comes with 12 of them. So I can label 12 projects. So that was the stitchy stuff. And they actually sent me some quilting stuff, which I was super excited about because I quilt. So that's awesome. So they sent these little plastic square markers. So this is for when you're cutting all your fabric out for your quilts, and you're trying to keep it all straight. And usually when you're cutting for your quilt, they'll say, you know, part A, cut 10 2x2 squares. Part B, cut 5 5x5 squares. And so this is as you're cutting and making your piles, you stick these little markers down on top of them just so you can keep it all straight. So that's what these are for, and I actually will use those. And then they sent me this beautiful quilt pattern book. It's really pretty. It is a Christmas quilt, but I mean, you can, here's what the, oh wait, that's not, let me show you what the quilt looks like kind of spread out. Here it is. So you don't have to make it Christmas. You could do any kind of color theme, but it's really pretty. I think I want to make it, but I'm debating like not doing a Christmas one and doing it as something else, like a different color scheme maybe, because it's just beautiful. The blocks are beautiful. So that was really nice. I was actually really excited to get that. Okay, so that is it. That is all my haul and all of the things. I mean, it's only been 2 weeks and I had that much stitching to show you guys, which is just insanity. So I hope you understand why this video was so long. I will put links down below of all the things I mentioned or promised to link. And thank you so much for watching. And I will probably be back in about 2 weeks at the end of Mania to show you like my final progress on everything. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.